ladies and gentlemen, y'all know how I have been preaching semen retention. Oh my God, I don't even know how this topic came up for discussion, but this brother right here has been practicing semen retention. First, he's gonna tell y'all what semen retention is.
Okay, so semen retention is not, oh my goodness, it's not letting go of your essence. So our body has a very powerful creative force, and for men, it's in our testicles, and it's literally our semen, and they call it Jing, essence in Chinese medicine. And your Jing is your vitality. So I think one of the books I read, they said every time that a man ejaculates, he loses like 40% of his chi. So if you like did that twice already, you're down to like you've lost at least 80%. So essentially what it is it's keeping your essence so that you can nourish your brain, because when you don't let it go, it goes back up to your brain. So the idea is that we retain it, or we keep our essence inside, so that we can have more clarity, and we can have more mental power. Yeah, it's literally food for your brain.
Wow.
So when you don't lose it, your body just recycles it to your brain. And I've been practicing it for a while. So it's a practice. So you're not always successful. Sometimes, and then I find that there's sometimes you just need to release, but it needs to be intentional. So you're not just squandering, because it's kind of like when you don't drink water, they say that that's an act of self-hate. It's like if you don't hydrate, you don't love yourself. Well, it's the same thing. If you're just letting go of your essence and ejaculating as a man, you don't love yourself because you're giving up too much. If you want to procreate, it makes sense. If you want to have a baby and create another human with someone, then yes, by all means, because that's an intentional act, and that's a creative act. But just, what's the word? Trivially, I guess. Trivial is not necessarily, but one of the words. But like, just letting go of it is very detrimental. And I found that like my confidence level, my self-esteem, my energy, my memory, all of these things, all those things are improved when you practice semen retention. When I've been in relationships and not practicing, I have low self-esteem, and it's like being too self-conscious. Then you don't have, the other thing about it is like, sex is also an act of love, or it should be. I hope you're practicing with someone that you do love and that loves you, because we know that people are out here doing different things. But anyway, my point is, you're also practicing. So you're not just practicing. Oh, I lost my train of thought. What was I gonna say?
About sex and love.
Oh, right. So exactly. So my point was, the man should have energy for the woman after they're done. Like, if a man and a woman are intimate, I feel like he should have energy to like hold her and caress her. Yeah. And if you ejaculate, most men just want to turn over and go to sleep. Like, they have no energy they're not gonna have energy to give, because if they ejaculate, they just lose it. But I feel like, to me, from my perspective, when you're with a woman like that intimately, my massage teacher used to call it make it nice. Like, at the end of the massage, you make nice, because you might have been moving stuff around and really manipulating their tissue, and some of it might have been uncomfortable. But it's like at the end, it's like when you leave a restaurant, right? And the last thing you see, or the last person you see, is going to leave the impression. So it's kind of like the same thing. So I feel like when a man and a woman are intimate, the man should have energy for his woman after, to kiss her, to give her whatever pleasure that she desires after. A man is just going to want to turn over and go to sleep if he ejaculates or loses his essence. So I find that it enhances everything, like relationships, interaction, like all of that. Because again, you cannot add value to someone when you're exhausted and depleted. You can only add value when you have energy and you have something to give. So yeah, for a man, for all my brothers out there, if you really want to show her real love and have something to give her, then you need to practice semen retention. And I'm not suggesting that you never let go of your essence, but I'm saying like you should do it on a schedule of like, if you're in your 40s, you should do it like every 4 days. And then it kind of goes up as your years decrease. So the younger you are, the less time that you need in between. But like the older you are, the more time, the more gap you should have before you do it again. So your body can replenish and build up, because it has to go through this whole process of replenishing and building all of that essence and energy back up. And it's going to take a lot of energy to do that. So yeah, I definitely suggest it, along with other things, eating foods that enhance you sexually, like beets, Irish moss, arugula is really good for men, burdock, there's some other good ones. Ginseng, of course, is good, but ginseng you don't really want to start using until you're like in your 40s. American ginseng is better because it's not as heating, whereas the Korean ginseng is very hot and fiery, which men in their 40s, they may need more metabolic fire, so that may be good for them. But younger people and women, they don't necessarily need all that. So American and Siberian, which is also known as Eleuthero, those are also good. But yeah, herbs like that enhance, because you want to keep it healthy. You want to preserve the essence, but you also want to keep it healthy. So everything that you eat goes down there. Everything, literally.
And it's like, now I was literally the other day read this article that like men who are experiencing erectile dysfunction, 1 out of every 4 of them are now men under 40.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's bad. Really bad diet, and then men are indulging in pornography, which I gave up a long time ago to heal my sexuality. So I gave up pornography because it was, I started to become aware when I was watching it, and the way it was affecting me, I didn't like it, because what I was observing was nothing like what I wanted to do for a woman or what I wanted to experience. So it was like, this is a ritual, this is somebody's sorcery or somebody's act that they're playing out, right? To create some kind of energy. And I don't want to be involved in that energy. So I gave that up, and what I started to notice is that I started to connect with my own drive, because when you're indulging in porn, you're controlled by it. It's like it's like you need it to trigger something, because you're dependent and you're addicted to it. So once I was no longer indulging in it, I started to connect with my own drive. So the person that I would be with, I would be connecting with them, because it wasn't about some thing that I was imagining, right, and bringing that into the bedroom. It was me connecting with this person, and that was the basis of it. Which I've always been a loving person, so that wasn't an issue. It's just that those images and the act, like what's playing out in that act and how that's transferring over to your act, because one has nothing to do with the other. So once I gave that up, I really healed a lot. Still healing my sexuality, I feel like, because I just feel like it's such a core part of our being. It's the center of our being. First of all, it's the core of who we are. So if you're not in balance with it, then you need a lot of healing, because you need to know that like it's something you should be very proud of, like something that you should embrace, something that you should not be ashamed of in any way, shape, or form. It's something that you really need to embrace, because it's the beauty of who you are, and it's at the core of your being. So yeah, I'm going through a lot of healing with that. Still learning a lot. I had a book, Man's Survival into the 21st Century. I think it was like the Black Male Guide into it, but it was written by a black Taoist who's also a doctor. He's an MD, and his name is Michael Frost.
Oh, I gotta see this book. I want to read it myself.
I have it. I'll let you read it.
Please.
But that was a good book, because he talked a lot about his experience, which helped me to relate, because a lot of times people are out here when it comes to sexuality, but they have no one to talk to because it's a taboo topic. And like families don't, a lot of times families don't discuss these things, and they don't teach their children, and it's really ridiculous. You know, it's really crazy. You're gonna send your child out into the world, but they have no knowledge of like something so important.
No, right? Isn't that crazy?
Something so crucial to their existence, and they know nothing about it. So yeah, it's definitely important to learn more. You know, I get books. I have many different books that I've learned because I studied Qigong. What I've learned is that Qi is very much connected to sexuality. So when you get into the depths of Qi, you immediately connect to the sexual energy because there's a direct connection. So that's something that I learned as I started to collect more books and do more reading and do more research. But it's an ongoing process, and it's discovery. It's self-discovery. And, you know, we started as children, but we were, you know, people weren't there to guide us and to show us that it's okay, that our sexuality is nothing to be ashamed of, and that, you know, the parts of our bodies are something that we should value and not treat like, you know, we call it our junk. You know, I remember like guys I remember
Oh my God,
I remember in massage school there was a guy who used to refer to it as his junk. Like he'd be like, oh, my junk is, because you know, like if you wear shorts that are like tight, and he was like, oh, my junk was present. But it's like people have these derogatory, but we shouldn't talk about it like that.
well, why? So it's like trash.
Right,
like you guys look at your personals as like trash.
Yeah, it's true.
I just don't wonder why you guys fuck everybody.
Right.
Because like you look at your penis as trash.
Exactly. Already.
Yeah.
So any other more trash attitude is okay, right?
Wow, I never even realized that because you guys do say my junk.
Yep.
And junk is trash.
Right.
Like junk is something no one wants.
And even in like certain cultures, like in Haitian language, they say bagay, and bagay means stuff. But even they use that term in English, your stuff. You know, oh, he touched my stuff, or whatever. You know, people use these terms. But yeah, we need to heal. We need to heal our sexuality. We need to heal because we need to be able to love each other without all of the foolishness and that people go through. I feel like people go through way too much bullshit in their relationships, and especially in the West. And yeah, I think we really need, men and women really need to heal, and so we can heal the human family. We can come back together and start to show each other real, genuine love, and not be afraid. Do it confidently, you know, and not with fear, because I feel like there's so much fear about connecting with people. I mean, even myself, because I like deep connection, so I don't usually have shallow relationships. There's always some kind of depth, which means if I hit it off with you, then we already are connected on a certain depth level. We already have something that we've bonded on a level of depth beyond the surface. But yeah, it's important that we have relationships. Relationships is something that I realize is very important for me personally. Through some personal growth and self-development coaching, some self-coaching that I invested in, and that's when I learned like how important relationships are to me. They're like very important. So it started to make sense when things would happen, and I would be so distraught, or I would be, you know, I'll just be messed up over it. But it's because it's valuable. It's because of how much I value it. So part of knowing yourself. But yeah, I definitely recommend retention. It just enhances everything, and it gives you character. Like it builds your character. Yeah, and it's about being a better person. You know, we want to be good people, but we can be better. We're good, and we can be better. So we strive to we work to be better. And those are just some things that can support us. Because depleting your energy and losing your energy is definitely something that's not supporting you. It's not serving you, as they say. And you want to do things that serve you. You don't want to do things that don't serve. So for a man, just losing essence, willy-nilly, you know, just recklessly, that's what I call it. It's like being wanton and reckless. It's like driving your car with no brakes. It's going to be a problem. And this is the same thing when it comes to connecting with people sexually, you need to keep your. But what I find is like, this is just something else, but like, I'm always able to pleasure women I don't get to that point where I'm not gonna have the energy, right? Because you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Because like there's this point that men are getting to the climax, right? And then they have nothing. Whereas as long as my partner wants to go, like
I see what you're saying.
I'm available, right? So that enhances it because it's like a lot of people, and I've been with a lot of women who haven't been with a man like that. It's not the majority that practices semen retention.
That's a fact. Yeah, it really is the opposite.
Yeah. So I found more often than not that women have not been satisfied because their partner simply wasn't going any duration that they could, and a woman needs time.
Yeah, a woman does need time. That is true.
Because from all my studies, I've learned that all of that, like, that's why the foreplay. But I'm somebody that I appreciate foreplay. I've learned to appreciate it and enjoy it. And it can be just as enjoyable as the act itself. It's just what you're open to. I mean, I'm an affectionate person, so I like affection in general. Mm-hmm. But, like, I definitely like to be affectionate with my lover. But I'm just super affectionate, so it works for me.
And you want to know what's something else I noticed? Like, like the guys, you could tell, like, when a guy, like, jerks off a lot.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's like the video gamer. Right, he's 120 pounds.
Right.
Super scrawny. No muscle mass whatsoever. And it's like, I wonder, like, I'm sure that has something to do with it because it's just like.
Yeah, well, they're depleted. And I'm sure they're eating like the worst quality foods. Like I already know because even like it's giving me an edge. So not just like energetically, but like making better choices. Making better choices.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. I'm about to start one.
Yes, for real. Seriously.
YouTube channel.
Well, tell them your Instagram.
Okay, my Instagram is Floreo Fi. That's FLOREIO _Fi. And yeah, I'm a fitness guru, yoga scholar, qigong master.
Yes. Don't forget the martial arts.
Right.
Don't forget the plants.
Right.
Yes.
And a lover of the arts. I love arts, musical, graphic, movement. Like I love all arts. Yes. So yeah, check me out on Insta, Floreo Fi, FLOREIO _Fi.
Yes, and he's gonna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna make sure because he has seriously, he has a lot to discuss. So I'm gonna make sure once he starts the YouTube channel, I'm gonna put his channel with a name.
Facts.
So we can get this party started.
Okay.
All right. Well, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, spread love, spread kindness, because there's so much hate in this world. And namaste.